How are you viewing this move from Durant?
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar. Plain and simple. That's just how I look at it. It's not that he's leaving Oklahoma City. If you're not happy there and you want to move on and you want to grow as a player, there's nothing wrong with that. He's one of the top 3 players in the world. He's a quintessential superstar. He deserves all the credit in the world for the talent that he possesses. But the flip side is this. They were up 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. Not 1, not 2, but 3 different times. He was 48 minutes removed from getting to the NBA Finals by winning the Western Conference. 3 times he failed, particularly in Game 6. And you depart for the team that beat you when you're on the cusp of getting to the finals yourself or ultimately winning the championship for the franchise that you've been with since you've come into the NBA. I think it's incredibly weak, and I don't want to hear any comparisons to that of LeBron James when LeBron James left Cleveland for South Beach. When LeBron left Cleveland, the cupboard was bare. He was basically the only dude in Cleveland. It was LeBron James and a bunch of no-names. In the case of Kevin Durant, you have one of the top 5 players in the world as your teammate. You've got Billy Donovan, who's proven to be an exceptional coach. You've got a coaching staff. You've got a first-class organization. You've got Enes Kanter, Steven Adams, and all of these boys. You are legitimately a championship contender. You are the difference. You are the superstar, and you depart for the team that beat you, that's the 2-time reigning defending Western Conference champions, who's won a championship in the last 2 years. You're jumping on a bandwagon as far as I'm concerned. That's just the way that I look at it. I don't think there's any way to deny that. All the reporters, whether it's Ramona, it's Chris Broussard, everybody doing an exceptional job, pointing out the things that they point out. I don't disagree with anything anybody is saying. But in the end, what it comes down to is that Kevin Durant is one of the top 3 players in the world. And he ran away from the challenge that he faces in order to jump on the bandwagon of a team that's a little bit better, that's already rife with at least one superstar, a couple of guys that can really, really get it done. I just view it as him jumping on the bandwagon, and I think it's the weakest move I've ever seen by a superstar, plain and simple.
Durant leaving the only NBA franchise he's ever known and heading west, the team that knocked him out of the Western Conference Finals. These are the odds, of course, to Las Vegas, so quick to react to the news. You can see where they opened, where each of these teams opened as favorites to win the 2016-17 NBA title. And you can see the Thunder opening at 8-1. They're now at 30-1, while Golden State opening at 3-2. Now the prohibitive favorite at 4-5. Reinforcements on the way here on SportsCenter as we near the bottom of the hour, the 1 o'clock p.m. hour here on the East Coast. Zubin Mehenti here. Elle Duncan actually had a flight to catch, so she is probably in the air at this very moment. I remain Randy Scott. We have Mark Stein standing by. We just referenced Stein with the news that it's a 2-year, $54.3 million deal. Mark, you've been with this Warriors franchise, this Warriors team, rather, for the better part of this season. What's the reaction from them now that this somewhat surprising news, at least to the rest of the NBA, has come to fruition?
Well, look, this has been their goal for months now. Actually, around the team, it's been 2 years, I would say, that the whispers of going to run it have been talked about, and it's something seen Warriors officials. And it's come to fruition. There's obviously a lot of joy, a lot of relief, because over these past 3 days, at meeting all these, it was stressful.
All right, a couple problems there with Mark Stein's phone, as you better believe we're not the only ones trying to get in touch with Mark Stein right now. So let's welcome in Royce Young, our ESPN Thunder reporter, hoping for better luck with the connection there. Royce, the news going from, I don't know, it was about 3 or 4 days ago, 90% chance that Kevin Durant is going to stay in Oklahoma City. His meeting on Thursday, the first of these free agent meetings, went so well. What changed between then and now, coming off the news that he's a Warrior?
Well, this is what the Thunder always feared, Randy. They feared that he was going to get in these meeting rooms and that he was going to sit down and hear pitches about why the Thunder can't get it done, why he can't play with Russell Westbrook, why the supporting cast hasn't been good enough, why the organization hasn't supported them enough, why they don't play a brand of basketball that fits his style, all these different things, why the market isn't good enough for his level of stardom. He was going to hear all these things, and that's what the Thunder were worried about. And that's why there was a level of skepticism within these walls about whether or not they were actually going to be able to get his name on a contract come today, because all these outside forces pulling at Kevin Durant, there's no question that his heart is in Oklahoma City. This place means a lot to him, and he's proven that over time with the charity work that he's done, donating $1 million after a tornado came through here in 2013. the city, the organization, it's where he grew up. It means a lot to him. But these outside forces of pulling at him and telling him he needed to go get a championship, he needed to cement his legacy, it was too much for him to ignore. And the Thunder couldn't necessarily, I guess, promise that in the way that the Golden State Warriors could with what they have in place with Curry, Green, and Klay Thompson and the rest of what they've proven. So the Thunder are left here to pick up the pieces, but you know, they're trying their best to take the high road right now.
Indeed, they do have some good pieces. July 4th, 2016, the day that Kevin Durant declared his independence from the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's going to be the headline down where Royce is standing. So I have to ask you now, because ever since they got together, Royce, the question of the dynamic between Westbrook and Durant has always been in question. We've visibly seen it during games. Great moments, tense moments. Take me inside the relationship and what that could have played factor-wise.
Well, Zubin, it certainly feels like, with Kevin Durant talking about how this was going to be a basketball decision, and him talking about the players that he was going to be around every day, and the coaches and the support staff, it certainly feels like this is a referendum on at least his basketball relationship with Russell Westbrook, doesn't it? I mean, when you think about the fact that he's leaving a guy that he's grown extremely close to off the court, the bond of Westbrook and Durant is a real thing. They have a depth to their relationship, but obviously Durant wanted something different in who he was playing with, whether it was there was a push and pull of whose team it really was. That was something that I've been told that Durant sometimes had a little bit of an issue with, that he didn't care about the idea of, is it Westbrook's team or is it Durant's team? And in Golden State, they have a very selfless approach with the culture that they've been able to manifest, that it's not a two-headed monster there. They have a very team-oriented approach. In Oklahoma City, the Thunder really kind of pushed this fact of it's Westbrook and Durant's team. They're the founding fathers. It's their organization. And it appears that Durant kind of resisted that idea. But as far as him and Westbrook, you know, obviously Kevin Durant doesn't want to play with him anymore. That's why he's in Golden State right now. And now the Thunder got to turn the leaf over and hand the keys to Russell Westbrook, at least for another season.
No question about it, Royce. All right, so Kevin Durant is gone, James Harden's gone, but the guy that brought them all there, including those two and Russell Westbrook, Sam Presti, is in place. He's shown the ability to find talent. He won draft night. We'll see what he does here. Oklahoma City, as you said, has a lot of pieces to pick up. Randy, this means we go from the big three of years past to a new core four, and we're not talking the Bronx in baseball here.
No, but are we talking about maybe the 04 Lakers, a team that got to the finals, built on star power, that didn't seal the deal? This team's so much younger than that one, though, is striking. You know about the scoring. You know about 30 a game for Steph and 28 for Kevin Durant. But look at the ages. Steph Curry's actually older than Kevin Durant, and no one is older than 28 years old. Curry leading the league in scoring. Durant ranked third, again with 28.2 points per game. Those are the ages. That is the scoring. What about the money? For more on that, our ESPN front office insider, guy who's had to put these deals and put these rosters together in years past, Tom Penn, is with us on SportsCenter. Tom, how does Golden State make this work long term?
They've been teed up to do this. In the short term, what it's going to do is be costly because they have to waive or renounce Harrison Barnes and Festus Ezeli, two important players, and then they're going to trade Andrew Bogut, their starting center. So you lose Bogut and Ezeli, you've got a giant hole in the middle. But what that gives you is $26.6 million to offer it to that guy, Kevin Durant, to create this historic core four. Now, don't do the parade just yet, or the multiple parades just yet, because they still got to round things out and then make it work. You're right. Those Lakers back in the day were 4 Hall of Famers, and it didn't work out. So everybody's clearly going to be gunning for these guys even more than ever. They'll line up to do it. The power game will be their Achilles heel. If someone can figure out how to create the power game, I'm looking at you, San Antonio. You're probably the best lined up to do it, to defeat this squad. But I'm telling you, this squad is going to score the ball. I don't know how you're going to keep up with the scoring. When you put Durant out there just in Harrison Barnes' minutes and give him those same shots, oh my goodness, it's going to be just ring, ring, ring of the three-point bell. And they got the money to do it, and they're set up to do it long term. That's the scarier part. They can extend all these contracts next year, and they're here to stay. Get used to it. It's going to be a blast up in San Francisco, Oakland.
This is essentially the time of year you get some time off, but the NBA offseason
back in the day
has become as critical, as important, and generating as much interest as almost the regular season.
I think a lot of people are more into the offseason, fans I'm talking about, than they are into the games. I hate to say it that way because I don't think we celebrate the champions like we should for as long as we should. As soon as it's over, it's on to the next year. What moves do they have to make and all this and that? And obviously the Warriors made a heck of a move today.
Indeed. Speaking of next up is our George Sedano. He joins us on the phone from Miami. George was filling in for our Dan Lebitard on the radio show today that he hosts from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio. He was joined by Israel Gutierrez. And George, I guess being down there in Miami, there's only one comparison you can make when you hear the Kevin Durant news, and that, of course, is the decision to go to South Beach. Take me through the juxtaposition of that news, how it played down there, and how this news is playing with those two superstars, KD and LeBron, linked.
Zubin, I think this boils down to this, is that you're these guys, you're LeBron, you're Kevin Durant, you are transcendent stars, and this isn't to take a shot at the guys I'm going to mention, but you don't want to be remembered like Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Karl Malone, John Stockton. You want to win a championship. You don't want to be the guy that is a once-in-a-lifetime generational type of player that doesn't have rings. So those decisions boil down to that. They're business decisions and basketball decisions. And I look at this very, very much the same way I saw LeBron. LeBron couldn't get over the hump from the Celtics, right? Like, that was the team that was in his way. And then he joined a quote-unquote super team in Miami. The only subtle differences, obviously, are that this Warriors team has already won a championship. They're coming off 73 wins. But the thought process is absolutely the same. And there's this notion out there that, oh, Durant is going to Steph Curry's team. And listen, we said that about LeBron, too. We said LeBron was going to Dwayne Wade's team. And look, Miami is still Dwayne Wade's city. But at the end of the day, LeBron was the one that won the 2 finals MVPs. And by the time that experience was over, we were sitting here saying, wow, LeBron, carried those guys at the end. So this narrative can flip quick. It's amazing to me, though, how people forget so quickly what the past was like. We're only talking about 6 years ago and less, really, as that thing evolved.
Yeah, George, I want to ask you, how are the fans down in Miami and your callers on the radio show viewing this? Because I'm getting texts from people that defended LeBron in 2010 and are now killing Kevin Durant, calling it cowardly and all that. And to me, look, there are subtle differences. Okay, LeBron's Cavs weren't up 3-1 on the team he went to join, Miami in this case. But still, in general, they're so similar that I think to praise one and kill the other, or to defend one and kill the other, is hypocritical in my view.
Chris, I'm with you 100% on this. And let's not forget, LeBron and Chris Bosh, for that matter, joined a guy in Dwayne Wade who had already won a championship, who had already been a finals MVP. So, yeah, there are some very small differences. But, again, the big picture, the thought process is the same. We took some calls on the radio today, and in general, from all over the country, obviously, because we were on ESPN Radio. And I would say it was split. It was people that understood our point of view here, Chris, and there were people saying that, oh, he's taking the easy way out. And I'm like, look, man, there is no easy way out, because let's not forget, and Chris, we were both there. That first year, Miami's roster was pretty depleted, right? They basically were the big three. Mike was hurt, Giannis Haslam, who was hurt, and a bunch of minimum-level players as far as their salary structure was concerned. And, yeah, they were the favorites, but they lost to Dallas. So this thing isn't clearly as easy as some people think.
That's a great point. They ended, of course, winning the next two, and LeBron's stay in Miami yielded a finals appearance every single year he was there. But those two are inextricably linked, that's for sure. For more schematics, I want to bring in our PJ Carlissimo. It's been talked about throughout the day that he had Coach Kevin Durant in his rookie season, about 95 to 100 games in, saw him boots on the ground, the type of player he could become, and he joins us on SportsCenter. Coach, first thing I want to know is, I still think it's going to be 5 players in one ball, so take me schematically inside. I guess this is a great problem if you're Steve Kerr. These are first-world problems, as they call them. But how does it work with Kevin Durant in the mix with Curry and Thompson and all that firepower back?
It works about as easily as you could ask for, Zub. You've got the perfect player. If there's a player that was born to play the way Steve Kerr's Golden State Warriors play, it's Kevin Durant. He's an excellent three-point shooter, and the quality of the looks that he's going to get now are going to be so much better because of the teammates he's playing with. Everybody forgets He's a rebounder, 8.2 boards. Only one Warrior got more rebounds a game than he did, and that was Draymond Green. He's an excellent passer, 5 assists a game. He shot almost 500 free throws, almost 100 more free throws than anybody else on the Warriors. He can go down under and post up. They got the ability to do some things with him offensively that they couldn't do. Talk about the death lineup. How about moving Draymond to center and slot Kevin at almost 7 foot at the 4 spot? Defensively, his length, he's going to get more deflections. He's going to get more steals. He was just under a steal a game. I don't think anybody could fit more seamlessly into this roster than Kevin Durant will for Steve Kerr and his new teammates.
PJ, with that being said, I mean, that's really the only question now is, will there be bumps in the road for Kevin Durant in Golden State as they try to adjust their chemistry? If not, as you say, who can hope to compete with them? I mean, San Antonio is the other great team now out west, but we know they just don't match up with the speed and the of Golden State and the way that they play. Cleveland, I don't see them matching up with them as well. Do you think now the Cavs will have to consider? I know you don't want to trade a player, but do they have to seriously consider whether or not they need to maybe move a Kevin Love or do something major to compete with this Golden State team?
Well, I think, first of all, CB, 2 things. I think the same teams are going to compete. The Clippers are still an excellent team. The Spurs, as they are, if they add Gasol, they're an excellent team, and they'll be a little bit different because they're going to be more top-heavy out front. OKC is going to miss Ibaka even more right now, no question, because now you've taken 2 huge chunks out of that roster. But I think it's going to be the same teams competing in the West. The advantage Cleveland has is they're still the best team in the East, and they're going to be in the finals. Being in the finals gives you a great shot. Their road to the finals is still a little more attractive than even Golden State's right now. And, yeah, there's going to be some bumps because you got new teammates. You do have to put it together. You look at Miami, their first year was struggles. You look at Cleveland when LeBron comes back. It's hard to call it struggles when they lose in 6 in the finals. But, yeah, okay, there'll be a little bit of struggles. But I just think this team is too good. They've got to figure out what they're going to do to replace Bogut's shot blocking and Ezeli, what the 2 of them gave him. But together, they only played about 36 minutes a game. Steve wants to play that death lineup. I don't know what's beyond death, but they've taken it to another level, that death lineup right now. So I like the challenge, if you will. I would certainly not call it problems that Steve Kerr and this team is going to face in the future. But, I mean, I just love this deal from so many reasons. And what keeps jumping out at me, it's the 4th of July. We're celebrating our freedom, our independence. You can do whatever you want to do. What are these people talking about criticizing Kevin Durant? That's what our country's about. He's earned the right to make this choice. Get a life, people. He can do whatever's best for him. Be serious.
Well said from Coach P.J. Carlissimo. We're certainly not going to be able to top that. We thank him and George Sedano for their contributions today. And simply put, for the 3rd straight year, it appears, how will the West be won? By going through Golden State. It almost seems like that is for sure. Our Amin El Hassan will join us for his thoughts as well as SportsCenter's continuing coverage of KD to Golden State continues on this 4th of July. We're back after this.